My parents forgot my graduation. They were at my sister's dance recital. I didn't say anything. I just sent them both a card in the mail that said, "Congratulations." My sister Claire has always been the star. Ballet since she was 4. Competition trophies lining the entire living room. Mom would drive 3 hours each way for her weekend rehearsals while I took the bus to school every single day. When Claire needed new pointe shoes, Mom dropped everything. When I needed supplies for my science project that was worth 40% of my grade, Dad said, "Use what we have at home." Senior year, I told them my graduation date 6 times. First time was in January over dinner. Mom nodded while scrolling through Claire's competition schedule on her iPad. Second time, I wrote it on the kitchen calendar in red marker, circled it twice, added 3 exclamation points. Third time, I sent a group text with the ceremony details, parking information, everything. My mom replied with a thumbs up emoji. Dad didn't respond at all. I reminded them again in April, again in May. The week before graduation, I mentioned it at breakfast. Claire looked up from her phone and said, "Wait, that's the same day as my recital." Mom's face went pale for exactly 2 seconds before she said, "I'm sure we can make both work." I knew right then they wouldn't. The morning of graduation, I texted the group chat asking what time they were leaving. Mom said, "Leaving for what?" My hands were shaking when I typed back, "My graduation is at 2. 20 minutes of silence, then, "Oh, sweetie, Claire's recital is today, the studio finale. We've had this planned for months. You understand, right? You're so independent. You don't need us there like she does. We'll take you to dinner tomorrow to celebrate." I stared at that message for 10 minutes. Then I just replied, "Okay." I got dressed alone, pressed my gown by myself, drove to the school by myself. I sat in that auditorium watching everyone else's families scream and take photos. Mom's crying, dad's holding up phones recording everything, grandparents waving. My entire row was empty. 4 seats I'd reserved. When they called my name for the honors scholarship, the $1,200 one I'd won for my essay on resilience, I walked across that stage completely alone. The family section was supposed to cheer. Mine was silent. I didn't cry. I smiled for the school photographer they hired, shook the principal's hand, picked up my diploma, and drove home. When I walked in the door at 5, the house was empty. They weren't even back yet. That night, I sat in my room and ordered 2 greeting cards online. Fancy ones with gold lettering and embossed borders, the kind Mom always bought for important occasions. Inside one, I wrote in careful handwriting, "Congratulations on raising 1 daughter." Mailed it to Mom. The other said, "Congratulations on perfecting selective memory." Mailed it to Dad. No return address, no explanation. 3 days later, my phone exploded. 50 texts asking what I meant, why I was being so cruel, how I could say such horrible things after everything they'd done for me. Mom said I was ungrateful. Dad said I was making them look bad to the relatives who'd seen the cards. Claire sent me a paragraph about how I was ruining her achievements by making everything about me. I replied to the group chat with one message, "Oh, sorry, I thought we only acknowledged the important events." Then I blocked all 3 of them. My Aunt Carol called from her number an hour later. She'd heard everything. Mom had a panic attack. Dad was furious. Claire was crying, saying I'd embarrassed the whole family. I told Aunt Carol they had 18 years to show up. 1 graduation. They picked their favorite. Now they can live with it. She tried the whole family is family speech. I hung up. My phone kept buzzing with calls from cousins, my grandmother, family friends. I turned it off. Last week, Aunt Carol showed up at my apartment, said Mom and Dad want to apologize, that they realize they made a mistake, that family needs to forgive. I walked to my bedroom and came back with an envelope. Inside were the photos from graduation, me in my gown standing alone, the empty row of seats with the reserved family signs, me on stage accepting my scholarship award with my section completely silent. I handed her the envelope and said, "They can apologize to those chairs."